and gentlemen, you're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
When last we left you, we were leaving Wrigley Field. What the Yankees did was they left Wrigley Field on the north side. They went through the city to the south side at U.S. Cellular Field. More baseball on tap. It is time for baseball as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Chicago White Sox in the first of 4 from the cell in Chicago, Illinois. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with John Flaherty. I'm Michael Kay. Yesterday afternoon at Wrigley Field was one of those games that looked like it was going to be a disappointing loss for the Yankees, but they turned around and won it. And if you look back at the end of the season and they do something special, you could point to that day as a pretty big game.
Well, you know what you like about it, Michael? It was a team win. The Yankees used 21 players in this game yesterday in order to get the victory. In the 9th inning, he threw the ground ball. Barney throws it away. We have a tie ball game in the top of the 9th. You fast forward to the 13th, a wild pitch by Jose Veras. Brendan Ryan will score the go-ahead run, and later on, John Ryan Murphy, a base hit to right field, drives in Solarte for a little insurance run. A nice comeback victory for the Yankees yesterday.
All right, let's take a look at tonight's pitching matchup, brought to you by Chevrolet. Chris Sale's going to come off the DL, 3-0, 2.30. He'll make the start. And for the Yankees, David Phelps, 1-0 with a 3.33. Last time out, an improvement.
Well, he picked up his first win of the season, Michael, which is good news for the Yankees. And when you watch some of the highlights from this start, he had that good sinking fastball that he always seems to bring to the table. 5 strikeouts in this ball game. The one thing that you did not like about it, 100 pitches through 5 innings. The Yankees need a few more innings out of him tonight, especially with the way the bullpen was worked yesterday. We'll see if he can stretch it out this evening.
And he's facing a very tough customer, Chris Sale, who had a flexor elbow issue. He was on the DL, comes off today, born in Lakeland, attended Florida Gulf Coast University. 2010 first-round pick, 13th overall by the Sox. And by the way, a 2-time All-Star who's been very, very good against the New York Yankees. Well, you don't think that Phelps is going to pitch a complete game, so the Yankees are going to have to go to their bullpen. Their bullpen has been outstanding. It was again yesterday. Meredith Marakovich will break it down next right here on Yes.
game of a 4-game series between the Yankees and the White Sox set to get underway in just a little bit. Hey everyone, I'm Meredith Morakovitz. Now the Yankees are coming off a big win at Wrigley. It took them 13 innings to get there, but they did ultimately get the W, and a big part of the reason why was the play of the pen. Joe Girardi got 8 2/3 innings out of his bullpen, but according to Joe Girardi earlier today, it wasn't just yesterday that was impressive. He's liked what he's seen from that pen all season long.
For the whole season, they've been huge, and I think people were wondering how our bullpen was going to be because there were a lot of guys that were being moved back and put in new positions, and I'm not sure that anyone knew exactly what we were going to get from Dellin. We've been high on Dellin for a long time, but he's stepped up big, and we lost David Robertson for a while, and Sean Kelly did a good job in his absence. We've lost Sean Kelly. I think this is the 3rd week, and Dellin Betances has stepped up, so our bullpen has been a big reason that we're over 500.
Joe Girardi did have to use every pitcher in his bullpen yesterday due to the fact that they went to extra innings, so he did say he would check with a few guys, see whether or not they're able to go tonight. Plenty more to come on the Yes Network. John Flaherty and Michael Kay coming up next with lineups first pitch baseball after the break.
Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by your tri-state area Volkswagen dealers. Visit VWDealer.com. By Blimpie. Stop by your local Blimpie after 4 p.m. and enjoy any large deli sub for just $5. Get more after 4 at Blimpie. By Buick. Visit TriStateBuick.com for great lease offers and by your local Acura dealer. Kind of a cool and crisp evening here in Chicago at U.S. Cellular Field. The White Sox have finished tossing around the infield. Chris Sale has taken his warm-ups. Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. Center fielder Jacoby Ellsbury, the DH and the captain Derek Jeter. Mark Teixeira is at first. Alfonso Soriano is in right field cleaning up. Batting fifth, the third baseman Yan Hervis Solarte. Brian Roberts at second will bat sixth. Batting seventh, the catching John Ryan Murphy. Brendan Ryan, the shortstop, bats eighth. And batting ninth and playing left field is Zoilo Almonte. So the first of 4 between the Yankees and the Sox, and there is long lean Chris Sale.
Well, it'll be his 5th start of the year, missed over a month with a left arm injury. You see the ERA 2.30. Very impressive. An opponent's batting average 168 against.
Ellsbury's ready, so is Sale. Let's do it here in Chicago, way outside, and we're underway.
Well, let's take a look at our pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And the White Sox will welcome him back, the ace of their staff. And he got 12 outs in 4 innings in a rehab outing. 11 of those were strikeouts, so I guess the arm feels good. And I want to wish Jacoby Ellsbury a little bit of luck, Michael. Lefties are 0 for 20 against Chris Sale coming into this game. So Jacoby Ellsbury has his hands full.
And that's why Gardner's not playing, and a good day to rest McCann as well. The 1-1. Crackling fastball for a strike. 1-2. Yankees 24-21. The White Sox 23-25 in the Central. Ellsbury 2 hits in extra innings yesterday, but still struggling of late. Just 3 for his last 29. Kevin Long thought he saw a flaw in the way Ellsbury was wrapping the bat around his head on the approach and made his swing longer, and they kind of corrected that, and some of it showed up yesterday. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. You can see why he's tough on lefties. Let's look at the White Sox defense behind Chris Sale, provided and brought to you by Geico. De Aza, Eaton, and Viciedo from left to right in the outfield. Gillespie, Ramirez, Beckham, and Dunn, third to first. Flowers behind the plate, and Chris Sale is on the mound. Here's Derek Jeter, another standing ovation from a visiting crowd, or from the home crowd for a visitor. Kind of comical yesterday as Cub fans gave him 4 ovations in what they thought was the final at bat they'd ever seen. They didn't think it would go into extra innings. He got one in the 8th, the 9th, the 12th, and the 13th. A 1-0. Foul back.
Well, a nice day yesterday for the Yankees. 13 innings, a comeback win. You split the series over at Wrigley and then make your way over to the south side. Joe Girardi proud of his bullpen and the work that they did yesterday afternoon. Also his lineup fighting back late in the game. Well, homecoming for Joe Girardi, huh? A week in Chicago. See a lot of family and friends.
He grew up in Peoria, which is about 2.5 hours away from Chicago, but he went to school at Northwestern. He said that when he was a kid, he never came to Comiskey Park. In fact, the first time he was ever at Comiskey Park was when he played for the Cubs in the Crosstown Series.
Wow.
Count 3-2 on Jeter. He grew up a Cub fan. Drafted by the Cubs, played for the Cubs. He said, I didn't even know the White Sox existed for a long time. Three-2. Strike 3. Jeter down looking. He tossed away the bat. Thought he had drawn a walk. He cannot believe it. And tells the home plate umpire Tim Woodring as much.
Well, we saw why Sale is so tough on lefties with the slider to Ellsbury, and now it's the fastball changeup combination to Derek Jeter. Another look at the fastball, inner half, right on the corner. Tim Woodring makes the call. Derek doesn't believe it, but it's mostly fastball changeups to the righties and the big sweeping slider to the lefties.
And the pitch to Teixeira is a strike. Sale working quickly, the 1-1. 1-2. Teixeira 8 home runs in his last 21 games. Best production through this many games in his career. Always a slow starter, but not this year. Two, grounded foul. Yankees baseball is available in Spanish by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Infinity.
Well, the Chicago White Sox, Robin Ventura, their manager, like a lot of other clubs in the major leagues, employing the shift against Mark Teixeira. Beckham, their second baseman, on the shortstop side of second base.
Swing and a miss, an impressive comeback off the DL to strike out the side. Yankees go down in order. Yankees nothing. White Sox coming to bat. In center field will lead off. Gordon Beckham, the second baseman, bats second. Connor Gillespie, the third baseman, will hit third. Diane Viciedo, the right fielder, cleans up. Batting fifth, playing first, Adam Dunn. Alexi Ramirez, the shortstop, bats sixth. Batting seventh, the DH, Paul Konerko. Alejandro De Aza in left field, bats eighth. And batting ninth and catching, Tyler Flowers.
Robin Ventura made out that lineup card to face David Phelps. Phelps picked up his first win of the season last time out against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The ERA at 3.33 and the opponent's batting average 250. Let's check out our pitcher scouting report. It's always brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. First game for Phelps at the Cell. Kid who went to Notre Dame, you got to believe that's a big thrill for him. And he threw 100 pitches in 5 innings his last time out. Did not give up an earned run, but the Yankees looking for a little more length from him tonight with a beat-up bullpen. And he gets the big outs this year. 176 batting average against with runners on base. That explains some of his impressive numbers early on.
Let's check out the Yankee defense behind David Phelps, brought to you by Geico. Almonte, Ellsbury, and Soriano left to right in the outfield. Infield, Solarte, Ryan, Robertson, Teixeira. Remember, Jeter's the DH today. John Ryan Murphy behind the plate. And David Phelps, as John told you, is on the mound. So Adam Eaton will start it off. Solarte in on the grass at third. And it's sliced that way over his head and into left field, a base hit. Almonte gets it in quickly, a leadoff single by Adam Eaton.
Well, Eaton does not waste any time. First pitch swinging, fastball elevated, and he rifles it the other way. And you look at this White Sox ball club. Offensively, they're in the top half of the American League. They can hit some home runs, 52, which is second in the league. Really, their weakness has been their pitching staff and their fielding, but their lineup is representative and they have a little power. Although they're missing Jose Abreu right now with his 15 home runs. He's put on the disabled list with some ankle issues.
Here's Gordon Beckham. And there's a strike. Last couple of years here at the Cell, the Yankees have not been able to get out Beckham. 11 for 21. 8 runs scored, 2 homers, and 5 ribbies. Count 0-2.
Beckham missed some time at the beginning of the season. Actually started the year on the disabled list.
Bit of the right side open for Beckham as Robert shades up the middle.
Well, the White Sox, like pretty much every major league team, dealing with a bunch of injuries early on. Talking to Robin Ventura before the game, he said he doesn't even know who he has on a day-to-day basis, just trying to stay above water. Young pitching staff, they welcome Chris Sale back tonight.
Keeping Eaton close. Solarte is deep at third, about 8 feet off the line. Fouled off. Nice catch by a fan in a luxury box. The 1-2 just missed outside. 2-2. Phelps has a good move for a right-hander, keeping Eaton close.
The White Sox, a club not really known for being a team that steals a lot of bases. Eaton only has 2 on the year. It's been thrown out 3 times.
And Beckham down on strikes. 1 away.
Well, a good combination from Phelps. Couple of breaking balls away, and he finished Beckham with a high fastball up and in. Not overpowering with the velocity, but good movement right at his hands. Picks up the first strikeout of the evening.
Here's Connor Gillespie. Off to a good start. 8-game hitting streak, 13 for 30 for Gillespie. That works out to 433. 3 infielders on the right side. And he grounds it that way. Roberts will get the out at second. Brendan Ryan took the throw. That's all they get as Eaton went in hard.
Well, again, the shift from the Yankees. We have seen it all year long. Easy ground ball to Roberts. The feed over to Ryan. Nice job by Eaton going in there hard with a good clean slide.
John, you notice they play it different when Jeter's not there, because when Jeter's there, he's the guy on the left side of the infield, and they move Solarte over to the spot where Ryan just was. Could be that Jeter doesn't feel comfortable on that side of the bag. Here's Viciedo. Breaking ball strike.
You know, I had a talk with Robin Ventura before the game about all the shifting. You know, I view Robin as an old school type guy. And he said, you know what, the numbers that they bring down to him, they don't lie, you know, about how many outs they pick up with the shifts. So he's a believer. As there are a bunch of the managers in the big leagues now, the game has definitely changed with all the defensive shifts.
But in a 2-game set at Wrigley, John, both teams got burned with their shifts. But over the course of the season, I guess you get more outs than you would if you shift. Because they're not going to do something that the numbers don't spell out as an advantage.
Well, with all the information they have in spray charts and where guys hit the ball on the ground. But, you know, the one thing I've noticed through, almost 2 months now, is you're putting a lot of players in positions they're not used to being in. Just like Brendan Ryan behind second base. Good slider there.
All right, so Viciedo goes down on strikes. No runs a hit. 1 man left. Scoreless through 1 at the cell. By Toyota, Prius is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Prius to keep the conversation going. Here's the conversation starter. Do you think every major league team should appoint a captain? Why or why not? And Pacer9 said yes, it enables leadership in the clubhouse, dugout, and on the field. Leadership from peers is an essential element of success. Soriano will lead off. John, I look at it, you've got to have the right guy. I don't think you could force it, or we have to have a captain. If you don't have a guy who has captain capabilities, then there should be a captain.
Well, the first thing I think of is that if you have a leader in the clubhouse, he does not need to be appointed as the captain in order to be the leader. You don't just give somebody the title and all of a sudden he leads. He has that natural ability to be a leader in the clubhouse. I think back to years ago, Jason Varitek was anointed the captain of the Red Sox, and he actually not fought it, but didn't want the recognition of the C on his jersey.
And a lot of people that get named captain don't want the C, even if they're named captain. Derek has never had a C on his jersey. Soriano's been struggling of late. 5 hits in 27 at bats. And they shift for him with 3 infielders on the left side. High pop up. Beckham drifts over for the first out. Well, let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. It's 61 degrees, so a bit cooler than yesterday. 60% humidity, 9 miles per hour from left to right for the wind. And the forecast is for clear skies, temperatures dropping to the mid-50s.
It's a little warm at Wrigley yesterday.
The day before it was uncomfortably warm. Yesterday was beautiful, but the day before was 85 and really humid. Solarte takes inside 1-0. There's a strike.
When I watched Chris Sale deliver a baseball, I mean, he just spent a little over a month on the disabled list. I'm actually amazed with his mechanics that was the first time he was ever on the DL. Mechanically, he's kind of all over the plate, drops his arm angle, kind of slings the baseball towards home plate. And then he's got good stuff. A great changeup right there to Solarte. And there's a lot going on in this delivery. Drops down, hides the ball well, good changeup, stiff front leg.
He got a lot of advice from his veteran teammates when he was on the DL. Adam Dunn told him, when you feel like you're better, wait a week or 2 more. He said, because you don't want a re-injury. So Sale's been kind of politicking to get back, and the White Sox have held him back as well. That one is squibbed the other way. A pool cue shot, and Dunn will tag out Solarte for the second out. Sale said he was going crazy, John, just sitting there. He said, you feel like you're useless. The team's on the field, and you've got your elbow in a bucket of ice. He said it's just awful, and he was obviously Jones in the face of the Yankees. Look at his numbers against them in his career. In 3 starts, 2-0, 1.05.
You know, I've only been on the disabled list once in my career. You feel like an outcast. You feel like you don't belong. You're one of the guys, and then all of a sudden you're on the DL. Can't do anything to contribute to a win or a loss. When you look at his rehab outing, 4 innings, 11 strikeouts. Of the 12 outs, 11 were strikeouts. Obviously minor league hitters, but that is a good sign he's 100% healthy.
Brian Roberts takes a strike.
And we'll see how long Robin Ventura goes with Sale tonight. He told me probably around 100 pitches for his lefty.
Well, the Yankees are making him throw pitches, so through 5 batters, he had 29 pitches. and now 2 to Roberts. So they get Sale back. They still have Abreu on the DL, and now they lost their closer, Matt Lindstrom. And severe injury of the tendons and the sheath around the ankle. So the entire pitching staff has struggled. Last in ERA, 14th in strikeouts per 9 innings, last in WHIP, and 9th in opponent's batting average against. That one is grounded to short. Ramirez will get Roberts, and the Yankees have gone down in order 1-2-3 in the first 2 innings. We go to the bottom of the second. Yankees and the White Sox. 0-0 right here on Yes. Medical Center, Inspired Medicine. Boy, did they miss Abreu. We talked about it. He has a posterior tibia tendonitis in his left ankle. 15 home runs and 42 ribbies. The 42 ribbies leads the American League. 11 doubles. Now, the on-base percentage not too great, but boy, they have really cashed in on what many thought was a little bit too high of a free agent signing for the Cuban defector. 6 years they gave him, and so far he's paying off.
Well, talking to Robin before the game, he basically said, you can pitch to Abreu. I mean, you make good pitches, you get it. You make a mistake, though, it doesn't just go over the wall. I mean, it's a different sound, right center power. Obviously a big part of what they have done offensively, and did it in the cold month of April, which everybody thought might be a big problem for him, and it was not.
Here's Adam Dunn, 248, 7 homers and 18 ribbies. He also has 32 walks, and he has a .403 on-base percentage.
With Abreu out, Adam Dunn is going to get the majority of playing time at first base, although he has played a little left field. Veteran presence in that clubhouse, and we all know he's got plenty of power.
How about this comparison? Big swing and miss guys with home runs. Remarkably similar. Although Dunn has way more strikeouts. Look at Kingman, 236. And I think that Dunn could be a great test case, John. 238 average. Let's say he hits 53 more home runs. And he's never been suspicious of using performance-enhancing drugs. If he has 500 home runs, do you put him in the Hall of Fame? I never thought Kingman would be a Hall of Fame player if he got to 500. So I don't know if 500 is that sure thing anymore, absent PEDs.
Well, here's the way I look at it. Throw out the numbers, okay? When you watch Adam Dunn, where I was lucky enough to catch behind him trying to get him out, did you ever think he was a Hall of Famer?
The eye test, no.
No.
Absolutely not.
And obviously 500 home runs doesn't have the cachet that it had years ago.
Adam Dunn goes down looking.
3 strikeouts already for Phelps. Well, what's the new lock for the Hall of Fame? 3,000 hits, still a lock, right?
That would seem to be the lock.
500 is not a lock anymore.
Well, Gary Sheffield has 509. I don't think Gary Sheffield's going to the Hall of Fame.
No. That man right there, Paul Konerko, has plenty of home runs.
Now, Konerko is essentially a bench player, but now with the injury to Abreu, he's playing more. And he is really a very good first baseman. That's why I'm surprised that Robin Ventura is going with Dunn at first and DHing Konerko. Alexi Ramirez with a high fly ball, shallow right center. Ellsbury's there with the second out. And that brings up Konerko. Now, Konerko has 436 home runs. And when they signed Abreu, he knew he wouldn't get much playing time. He loves it here. And this is, I guess everybody's looking at it, John, as his farewell tour. Probably not going to play after this year, but very well liked here in Chicago. And the owner loves him, Jerry Reinsdorf. So he's given a contract to be a bench player. He has gotten off to a slow start. He has 2 hits in his last 21 at-bats. Remember Joe Torre once telling me the most difficult thing is being an everyday player and then all of a sudden being a bench player and pinch hitting. He said not many people do it well. One of the people that did it the best was Chris Chambliss.
Well, don't you think it's all about the attitude that you have to accept that role and not fight it?
Well, this guy, you know, essentially is a star. You look at where he ranks in franchise history, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So he's up there in all of them. Trails Frank Thomas in home runs and ribbies. And you know better than me, John. Do you think it's more accepting, or how about the physical aspect of not playing every day and keeping a swing?
Well, that's, when you get a little older, the fastball beats you a little bit more than it did when you were a younger man. But I think he has accepted this role. And, we just had that question about the captain and do you put a C on somebody's jersey? And Paul Konerko has been the leader of this team for a long, long time. And just because he's not an everyday player and been more of a pinch hitter or a bench player, that doesn't go away in the clubhouse with all these young kids on the team. So obviously not a star performer out on the field, but very, very important to this team and this organization.
The 0-2. 1-2 to Konerko.
Thinking back to Paul Konerko in his prime, in his heyday, he was a run producer, an RBI machine. Felt like his game went to another level when there were runners on base.
Served into right center field. That's a base hit. Gets past Soriano and goes to the wall. And Konerko rumbles into second with a 2-out double.
Well, the fans on the south side have seen this for a long, long time from Paul Konerko. Plenty of power. We documented the home runs, 436, but just an all-around really good hitter. Out over the plate, just shorten your swing a little bit and drive it to the gap in right center field. Coming into this year, 283 batting average as a Chicago White Sox, and that's for a guy who cannot run a lick. He earned every one of those hits. Picks up a double with 2 outs.
Here's Alejandro De Aza.
This is really where Phelps has been good this year. Runners on base, 176 batting average against him. Obviously in a situation here with Konerko at second with 2 outs. We'll see if that trend continues.
Sky down the left field line. A long run for Almonte. Can't make the play. And it's a fair ball and bounces into the seats for a double. So Konerko will score. De Aza with a double, and it's 1-0 White Sox.
Well, just perfectly placed by De Aza going the other way on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. It just lands fair. Great bid by Almonte, just out of his reach. David Phelps not used to that with 2 outs and men on base. He had an .056 batting average against. So an unusual hit against him with 2 outs and an RBI for De Aza.
So here's Tyler Flowers, who really has been surprising the White Sox with his hitting .303. Last year on this date, 198.
Well, the biggest difference, he's cut down on his swing a little bit, not swinging for the fences and pull power like he did last year. The batting average over 300. He does have 3 home runs. Back to last year, the White Sox had such a disappointing season and never really got a full-time catcher behind the plate. Well, Flowers has taken the opportunity and ran with it early on this year. Todd Steverson, the hitting instructor, talking to Robin Ventura, gets a lot of credit around here for Flowers and his improvement. David Phelps showing him a lot of respect. A couple of breaking balls, a breaking ball there with a 2-0 count. This is the number 9 hitter in the lineup. He is hitting over 300, but he's batting 9th. David Phelps showing him a lot of respect.
There's a strike.
Well, Phelps threw a 2-0 breaking ball. We'll see if he does the same thing here on a 3-1 count.
Had 2 strikes on Konerko. He had 23 pitches. Last time out, 25 pitches in the first inning. So he was really doing the job and keeping the pitch count low. But now Konerko touches him, De Aza, and now Flowers has a 3-1 count. And he walks Flowers, the number 9 batter.
The number 9 batter hitting over 300. Phelps very careful. A moving fastball in off the plate. Murphy tries to bring it back. Get back to the top of the lineup. Guy Adam Eaton, who was first pitch swinging to lead off the game for the White Sox, a rocket into left field.
Now pitchers usually say they don't pay attention to who they're pitching against, the other pitcher. David Cone says they're lying. So you know that your opposite mound opponent is Chris Sale, who shuts the Yankees down whenever he pitches against him. You can't let it get too far away. So some pressure here to get Eaton. It's already 1-0. Runners on first and second. drive, base hit to left field. De Aza will score. Stopping at second is Flowers. An RBI single for Eaton. It's 2-0 White Sox. Same piece of hitting as what he did in the first.
Yeah, you can see his approach. He's going to stay inside the ball with the bat knob and just slice it the other way. Fights it off right over the head of Solarte. And the White Sox doing a good job extending this inning with 2 outs and getting some 2-out RBI opportunities, which are so deflating to a pitcher, David Phelps, in this instance.
Ten White Sox batters have come to the plate. 5 have reached. Here's one who didn't, Gordon Beckham. He struck out in the first. Swings and misses here in the second. Everybody in the bullpen pitched yesterday. Some are going to have to pitch again today, but they need decent length out of Phelps today. They can't really deal with an abbreviated performance. One, 2-1.
David Phelps knows that too, and he's being a little bit too fine, especially here in the second inning with 2 outs. The walk to Flowers. Now he's pitching off the plate to Beckham. 28 pitches in this inning. Through 100 pitches his last outing and only 5 innings against Pittsburgh. I'd do a better job in that department.
Really resting today before that to get up and warm. They did a great job yesterday. Two. 3-2. So the runners will be going with 2 outs. Flowers from second and Eaton from first. Beckham at the plate. 2-0 White Sox. Bottom of the second. Pitch. Swung on and missed. He gets out of further trouble. But the White Sox scored 2 on 3 hits, and they leave 2. We go to the third. 2-0 Chicago. Now let's take a look at the upcoming schedule brought to you by your local Acura dealer. 3 more games here in Chicago. Tomorrow night's on my 9, so note that. Then a 2:10 start on Saturday and Sunday, back on Yes. Then 3 games against the Cardinals. 4:15 on Memorial Day. My 9, 8:15. And then 8:15 on Yes to finish up the road trip. Then a day off. 3 games against the Twins at Yankee Stadium in New York. We're here on the south side of Chicago after spending the last couple of days on the north side, and the Yankees trail 2-0 as we go to the 3rd inning. It'll be the bottom third of the Yankee order. They've done nothing against Sale so far. The Audi A3 scoreboard shows the Sox with a 2-0 lead. John Ryan Murphy has really been very good with the bat since becoming the backup catcher when Cervelli went down with the injury. He has 12 hits in his last 24 at-bats, hitting .406. Got a big hit yesterday to drive in the 4th run in the 13th inning. And I would think, John, it's going to be really difficult for him. He's been a starting catcher his whole life. He's a big prospect, and here he is. He plays once a week, maybe twice at the most, and he's somehow been able to keep his stroke.
Well, again, we talked about it with Konerko being the veteran guy. Fastball right by him right there. But for a guy like Murphy, you just got to accept that it is what it is, you know, and you don't give yourself any excuses before the game. Oh, I'm not supposed to hit because I only play once a week. Obviously, he's going up there. I've noticed a little bit more aggressive in that backup role, and the batting average reflects it.
We told our very own Meredith Morakovitz yesterday after the game, he said, I really work on my hitting a lot so that when I do get the call, I'm ready to go. Here's Brendan Ryan. 7 up, 7 down for Sale without throwing a ball yet. All strikes. I take that back. Without throwing a ball that went out of the infield.
You know, Michael, getting back to John Ryan Murphy, though, you know, my first year in the big leagues, I was a backup player to Tony Pena, the bench coach for the Yankees. As a 24-year-old kid, and you're just so excited to be in the big leagues. But quickly, mentally, I beat myself down and said, you know, I can't hit. I'm playing once a week. How do they expect me to hit? And once you have those thoughts in your head, you are not going to be productive. And obviously, Murphy has gotten past that as a young player and is a very productive backup. Also nice to see the relationship he has with Brian McCann, the veteran everyday player, kind of taking care of the young backup catcher and Murphy. Good working relationship between the two of them.
Ryan swings and misses. The bat goes out to the shortstop area, so he is down on strikes. 4th strikeout for Sale. 5th. He struck out the side of the 1st.
Really good changeup with great arm action, and Ryan lets the bat go flying. The Yankees thought there was a possibility they would miss Sale in this series. Not the case, and he looked sharp early on in this one.
Here's Zoilo Almonte. Swings out from under his helmet.
He's got great arm speed on this changeup, and his delivery is so quick and rapid that it almost speeds you up as a hitter, and you expect fastball to come and never does. A good changeup and a big swing and a miss from Almonte.
Really dealing.
Almonte has seen a changeup, a slider, and a changeup. It's from a lefty who throws about 93, 94. You can choose go with a fastball right here. Might pick up another strikeout.
Count 2-2. 3-2 on Almonte. Top of the third, 2-0 White Sox. And the 3-2. Still 3-2. Sal's the type of guy that they would refer to in the old days as a tall drink of water. 6'6", 180. All arms and legs. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Strike 3, strikes out the side again. Let's take a look how he did it. J.R. Murphy started it off. Swing and a miss. Brendan Ryan, swing and a miss. Zoilo Almonte, down looking. We go to the bottom of the third. Tote bag for Friday, May 30th. So come see the Yankees play the Twins on May 30th, as all guests in attendance will receive the Yankees reusable tote bag courtesy of the MLB Network. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. So Chris Sale's been impressive coming up the DL and really dealing. As we go to the bottom of the third inning, the Audi A3 scoreboard shows the Sox with a 2-0 lead, and 3, 4, and 5 in the Sox order against David Phelps. Gillespie reached on a fielder's choice in the first. And a strike.
Gillespie hit .433 over the just completed White Sox road trip. Big reason why that batting average now up at .340.
Right into the hands and fouled away.
Looked like Gillespie trying to slap one the other way. The Yankees shifting him to pull. Again, Brendan Ryan on that side of second base. That swing right there, it looked like he tried to block one off the other way and take advantage of the shift. Didn't work out for him.
The 0-2.
Phelps really needs a little shutdown inning right here. Keep that pitch count down. after the long second inning. It's going to be a topic of conversation all night. The bullpens for both clubs. How long will Chris Sale go coming off the disabled list? And how much length can David Phelps give the Yankees?
Driven to center field, Ellsbury back. And he makes the play on the track for the first out. You know, you notice this about Phelps. Want to run it by you, John. He can get 2 strikes on you. And then there's a lot of foul balls where he's got to keep making pitches. And sooner or later, you're going to make a mistake location-wise and end up giving up a hit.
Well, you have to be honest about David Phelps, and we've talked about it before. His stuff is not overwhelming. He doesn't have that one big pitch that can get strikeouts when he needs it. He has to pitch to the corners. He has to rely on movement. And when he's not 100% locked in, it could be a long outing.
Viciedo hits a fly ball to right center. Ellsbury will make the play for the second out. So that's a big out to get on just one pitch.
One pitch. And the first thought is, well, I got 2 quick outs. I'm going to go right at the next hitter and try to have a low pitch count inning. Well, the next hitter is Adam Dunn, who has plenty of power. If you're going to throw a strike early, make sure it's off speed and make sure it's down in the zone.
Strike on the outside corner, 1-1.
Good pitch, good changeup, good action down and away, right on the corner to get back in the count 1-1. Great shot at the movement and the rotation on that changeup. Good catch by John Ryan Murphy.
One, two.
See what Phelps and Murphy are trying to do. Soft away the changeup and the curveball on the outer half and down, and then he tried to run a fastball up and in right under his hands.
And the 1-2. .52 pitches so far for Phelps. 2 outs in the third. Lined into left center field. Ellsbury makes the play on the run. He just ties a record held by many. 3 putouts in 1 inning. As we go to the 4th inning, it's 2-0 White Sox. quiz. Call 1-866-NY-QUIZ for free help today. Derek Jeter won the 96 American League Rookie of the Year award. What White Sox pitcher was the runner-up? We'll find that out in the bottom of the inning. You know, Jeter has the longest tenure of any player with a major league team. Do you know that Paul Konerko has the second longest tenure? Konerko's been with the White Sox since 1999. Jeter goes back to 1995 with the Yankees.
Konerko started out with the Dodgers, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a strike. Two and two on Ellsbury. Yankees looking for their first base runner. Konerko was started with the Dodgers, went to the Reds. Reds to the White Sox.
Well, Michael, you mentioned early on that Ellsbury maybe found something in his swing with Kevin Long. If he has a good at bat or a base hit off of the tough lefty Sale, that will kind of seal the deal in his head and say, you know what, if I can get a base hit off of this guy, the way he's throwing tonight, things are looking up.
Did he go? Yes, he did, said Dan Bellino, the third base umpire.
Well, the struggles continue for the left-handed hitters against Sale. As Kevin Long doesn't agree with the call, we'll get a look from the side. It's borderline. Yeah, you're just hoping that you get an umpire that doesn't ring you up.
Here's Jeter. He got rung up on a called third strike on a pitch he thought was too far inside in the first inning.
Best swing of the night right there for a Yankee hitter. 95 miles an hour right at Derek. Good swing. Just fouled it off.
No hits for the Yankees, no base runners. One out into the fourth inning. And he's down on strikes. Flowers throws to Dunn. Strikeout number 8.
Well, there is so much break on this slider. You can actually see this slider get a swing and a miss and maybe hit a right-handed batter tonight with all that action down and in. Good swing at the fastball. Next pitch is a slider, and Derek swings right over the top. Just misses his back foot.
Here's Teixeira. 1-0.
Sale's got it going now. 5 strikeouts in a row. The rhythm on the mound. We already talked about how quickly he works. He's feeling it.
One. 2-1. So the count 3-1 on Teixeira. Sale is not messing around. He wants to throw the ball. The 3-1. Popped up. Beckham will make the play. And Sale is perfect through 4. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. 2-0 White Sox. Smokers Quit Line Quiz. Derek Jeter won the 96 AL Rookie of the Year award. What White Sox pitcher was the runner-up? I do not know. John, how about you?
No clue.
James Baldwin. Before the game, Jeter was asked some of his memories about playing here at U.S. Cellular, and here's what he said.
I remember my first year coming here towards the end of the year, and remember the pitcher Baldwin. We were both up for Rookie of the Year, and they're saying it was a big matchup, and I ended up hitting a home run that day. So I remember that from coming my first time here.
How about that? That's what sticks with him. Here's Alexi Ramirez. Ramirez here at home coming into this game leads the American League with a .378 batting average in home games. But on the White Sox just completed 9-game road trip, he hit .226, so there is no place like home for Alexi. There's a strike. Grounded up the middle and threw for a base hit.
Well, the number's not good on the road trip, but you get back to the cell if you're Ramirez. The hits start to pile up again, just fights it off right back up the middle. Actually, he had a curveball called for a strike 2, which was a pretty bad call, and he fought back at a base hit up the middle.
So here's Konerko. Started the White Sox 2-out rally to get 2 runs in the second with a double to right center.
Brian Roberts shading him up the middle. A huge hole between first and second for Konerko. We've seen him go the other way with that double. I've always thought of him as being a complete hitter, line to line. You can't pitch him one way. See if he takes advantage of that big hole between first and second. Well, the potential for a double play every time he steps up to the plate does not run well.
How about the trade the White Sox made with the Reds for Mike Cameron for Konerko? Cameron's a nice player, but Konerko helped them win a World Series.
It's that solid force right in the middle of the lineup all these years in Chicago. Ramirez will run. He's got 8 stolen bases on the year. He's only been thrown out once. Phelps paying attention to him. A name like Paulie Konerko, doesn't he just fit on the south side? Just fits. Paulie.
Got a fastball by him, 2-1. Attention to Alexi Ramirez.
Dangerous count right here. Konerko obviously knows what to do in a hitter's count. 3-1. Ramirez, the possibility of being on the move here in the hitter's count, thinking that Phelps has to throw a strike.
Runner goes. High fly ball, right center. Long run for Soriano. He makes the play, and Alexi Ramirez heads back. Fans, you can now tweet at Yes Network your best fan photo using hashtag YesFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during the game. Brought to you by AT&T. Here's Alejandro De Aza. Now, no knock on Almonte, who's a decent outfielder. But because Sale is pitching, you don't play Brett Gardner. John, what do you think? You think Gardner makes that play on De Aza's double?
Well, I think it obviously helps because he's a left-handed thrower. The glove would have been on the right hand right down the line. Might have been an easier play for him than Almonte.
Now, Chris Sale perfect through 4, but he's thrown 64 pitches. And remember, he threw 68 in his rehab start. Runner goes, strike, no throw to second, stolen base for Ramirez. Awkward slide for Ramirez, kind of bumped into second base. He steals it.
Looked like John Ryan Murphy did not have a good grip on that baseball, decided not to deliver a throw. This is another look at that weird slide on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. The 9th stolen base of the year for Ramirez. Not the smoothest of slides into second base.
The 0-1. 1-1. Grounded foul, 1-2. This is a 4-game series, first game of the set. Again tomorrow night, and then Saturday and Sunday afternoon.
Three-day games in a row, right? That Memorial Day start in St. Louis.
Yep. Two and two. Now Phelps is a perfect example. Not wild, but certainly does not have great control. If that makes sense. Not all over the place, but he's missing. And he's throwing a lot of pitches. He's at 66 right now. And he's been unable to put batters away.
Seen a lot of the strikeouts that Phelps picks up, especially on left-handers. That front hip sinker that he brings back to the middle inside corner. Catches a lot of the lefties looking. And a lot of foul balls on the curveball and the changeup. See if he tries to catch Diaz looking at a fastball in here.
2-2.
Little cut fastball in, and again another foul ball.
Twelve foul balls by White Sox hitters tonight. Diaz against the Yankees, 22 hits and 58 at bats in his career. That's 379. Grounds that one just foul.
Who's going to win this battle? A good matchup between Phelps and Diaz, and Murphy trying to go out. Talk about pitch selection, trying to finish him off.
The 2-2. High 3-2.
93 is best fastball of the night right there, trying to get a swing and a miss at the high fastball. Well, Phelps has thrown a good changeup tonight. Has a good feel for it for a strike. We'll see if he throws it here in a 3-2 count.
Swing and a miss. Diaz down on strikes.
Well, Phelps wins that battle. Good at bat for Diaz, but a quality breaking ball from David Phelps. Pick up the strikeout. More importantly, the second out here in the bottom of the fourth. Good pitch. Best breaking ball he's thrown.
Here's Tyler Flowers. Walked in the second inning. And wraps one through the left side for a base hit. Ramirez rounds third. He's going to stop, though, as the throw is cut off by Solarte. Flowers with a base hit.
Flowers hits this ball hard. A little bit surprised Ramirez didn't have a better jump off the second base with 2 outs. Joe McEwing, the third base coach, had to hold him. Obviously, this ball hit hard in the left field. Almonte charging. See the jump for Ramirez, not great. Joe McEwing has to hold him up.
Here's Adam Eaton. He's 2 for 2. RBI single his last time up. And a strike. Solarte in on the grass at third, trying to chase back Ramirez. Eaton has taken the ball the other way twice. Lined right at Brendan Ryan to end the inning. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base after 4. 2-0 White Sox like it. Chris Sale's pitching a perfect game, and you have to ask this question. He's at 64 pitches, coming off a DL stint with a flexor problem. What if he keeps pitching a perfect game? I think we know the answer. They're not going to keep him in. And one of the reasons he went on the DL, he had a 127 pitch start, and that put him on the DL. So how long do you stay with him? There's no way, if they're looking at 100, John, that he would be able to complete 9 innings.
No, I think Robin Ventura obviously is going to be pretty stubborn in the fact that right around 100 pitches, he'll look for that opportunity to get him out of this game. He's too important to this club for the rest of the year.
Well, here's Soriano. Shift is on. Of late, Soriano's looked a little slow on the fastball. Just has not been in sync. He popped up to the second baseman in the second inning, 5 for his last 28. He also expands the strike zone when he's struggling, so he's swinging pitches a little over his head.
I've seen this through his whole career. I mean, if he's struggling, he's going to swing his way out of it. It's even more aggressive. He had good pitch to hit right there and fouled it off, and that's what happens when you're struggling. When you foul off a pitch like that against a guy like Chris Sale, who's locked in tonight, usually it does not end well.
Ninth strikeout for Sale. And they know what his weakness is, John.
Yeah, he's in swing mode right now. You mentioned the numbers, Michael, and he goes up to the plate looking to swing the bat, and Flowers takes advantage. High target, up and in, located by Sale, and another strikeout.
Here's Solarte against Sale. Body type, John, and the White Sox uniform, doesn't it look like a lefty version of Jack McDowell?
Sure, blackjack. Different pitcher, fastball split.
Coming into tonight, Honda League leaders, and we look at batting average in the American League, and coming into tonight, Solarte 5th. Victor Martinez having a great year, so is Cano. Not much power, but hitting .326. I think the biggest surprise on that list has to be Solarte. 8 years in the minor leagues. Two-one. Fly ball center field. Eaton for the second out. That's the first ball the Yankees have hit to the outfield tonight. Here's Brian Roberts, who grounded to short in the second. Yankees looking for a base runner. And they will not get it here in the 5th as Roberts grounds out. Sale, perfect. Through 5, 15 up, 15 down. Halfway through, White Sox up by 2. Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by your Tri-State BMW Centers. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Honda, start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Some kids having some fun, kind of oblivious that the White Sox pitcher's pitching a perfect game through 5. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Chris Sale has been the deal. And David Phelps has allowed 2 hits over 4 and thrown 74 pitches in the process. Here's Gordon Beckham. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss again, 0-2.
Phelps has looked his best to Gordon Beckham tonight. A couple of strikeouts for Beckham. Quickly ahead, 0-2. Good cutter away, down and away.
So Beckham down on strikes for the 3rd time.
For some reason, Phelps just has had his number tonight. Every pitch has been perfectly located. Finishes him off with a good breaking ball down and away. Beckham, who came in with good numbers against the Yankees in his career, does not look good tonight.
7 swings and misses against Phelps Beckham has had tonight. And here is Gillespie. And strike. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. The 0-1. Grounded to short right field. Roberts to Teixeira. 2 away. Here's Viciedo. Struck out and a fly ball to center. Viciedo and Ramirez have made the transition for Jose Abreu a lot easier. Both Viciedo and Ramirez, each from Cuba. So someone that Abreu could identify with and speak with and commiserate. They've gone through the same things he's going through with the transition, so he's had it easier than they did. Grounded to Ryan. And a 1-2-3 inning for David Phelps. We go to the 6th. Yankees are down 2-0 against the White Sox. Life more entertaining with America's fastest, most reliable internet. That's powerful. Hiroki Kuroda against Hector Noesi. Yankees know him. Coverage begins 7:30 p.m. on Yes with the pre. And for game time, shift over to My 9. First pitch will be right around 8:10. So just like yesterday, the Yankees are down 2-0. Yesterday they rallied it tonight. They'd like to do it a little sooner today. Bottom third of the order against Chris Sale, who was not allowed a base runner. Ground ball to third. Gillespie retires John Ryan Murphy.
What was your take yesterday on Samardzija?
Looked very good. Very good. But he doesn't seem overpowering. You know, there's nothing that like lights up the radar gun and makes you go, wow, but boy, he knows how to pitch.
Did you get the feeling that the Cubs are looking at some point to deal him, or
Absolutely.
is he part of their future?
No. He pretty much told them that he's not going to
sign a deal, right?
So look, they have Zach Putnam up in the bullpen already, so they have no intention of allowing Chris Sale to flirt with baseball immortality. Brendan Ryan showing bunt. In fact, both pitchers that the Yankees saw against the Cubs, I think, are going to be traded before the trade deadline. Jason Hamill and Jeff Samardzija. Hamill looked very good as well. The 1-0. 2-0.
Well, you have to be honest. The Yankees looking to the bullpen, seeing some activity will bring a smile to their face. And take their chances on with somebody else besides Sale, who has been dominant.
Way out in front of that one. A foul ball. Well, his performance has to make the White Sox feel pretty good.
Well, including his rehab start, 4 innings. He hasn't given up a hit yet.
2-1. Line right at Beckham.
Well, Brendan Ryan out in front a little bit, just punches one, but Beckham had him played perfectly.
And here's Almonte, who struck out looking in the third. Oh, 1. Working quickly, throwing strikes. First base runner and first base hit, a single by Almonte. And the crowd here at U.S. Cellular will show their appreciation for Sale's performance.
A little smile from Chris Sale as well. And a clean single from Almonte with 2 outs here in the 6th. Well, Robin Ventura doesn't have to answer any difficult questions after the game now. Fastball out over. Driven right back up the middle.
Now here's Ellsbury. First time out of the stretch. And a strike. A little bit of a smile as Sale reacts to the single. And 2. Ellsbury tonight has struck out twice. You know, Joe Torre had a similar decision to make back in 1996. David Cone coming off a long stay on the DL with the aneurysm. Came back with a start against the Oakland A's and had 7 no-hit innings, and Joe took him out. He said, I need you. I can't push this. And the pitcher who gave up a hit later in that game was Mariano Rivera. Runner goes, throw to second. A stolen base for Almonte. Overslid the bag, but Ramirez did not turn around.
A good jump from Almonte. A good throw by Flowers made that play a lot closer than I thought it would be. And you're right, if Ramirez sticks with this tag, as Almonte overslides the bag, it would have been an easy out. Good throw by Flowers. High batting average this year. Quality throw right there. Just doesn't get the call.
So the count now 3-2 on Ellsbury. Runner at second. First runner in scoring position for the Yanks. And the 3-2. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Ellsbury down on strikes. 10th strikeout for Sale. Yankees do get a base runner in their first base hit. But we go to the bottom of 6, down 2. Well, Sale gets some congratulations in the dugout. We tell you that MLB.Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service, and it's celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Yankees.com for details. Adam Dunn will lead off the bottom of the 6th. Adam Dunn pops it up. Ellsbury makes the play.
We know David Phelps threw 100 pitches his last time out through 5 innings against Pittsburgh. It's a season high in pitch count for him. We'll see how far Joe Girardi goes with him, as long as he's still effective here in the 6th inning, possibly into the 7th.
Ramirez shows bunt, takes outside, 1-0. Well, they're in at the corners in case Ramirez does bunt. He's 1 for 2 tonight with a stolen base. 2-0. Well,
the Yankees playing Ramirez pretty much straight up in the infield, straight up in the outfield. Brendan Ryan maybe playing him a little bit to pull. Joe Girardi looking on with that bullpen depleted. You have to believe Phelps is going to be in there for a while. Get that pitch count over 100 at least.
And the 3-0. Turned him loose and he hits a fly ball to left. Almonte for the second out. Now just to check in on the bullpen, this is how many pitches they all threw yesterday. Betances had 21. Daly had the most at 31. Warren is probably available tonight. So is Aceves with just 10 pitches. Thornton as well. Claiborne has pitched a couple days in a row, so I don't think he's available, and I think they would use Robertson. And the pitch to Konerko is a strike. Count 1-2. Two nothing White Sox. Both runs in the second inning. The only scoring in this game. White Sox have 6 hits. The Yankees have 1. A 2-out single in the 6th inning by Zoilo Almonte. Konerko started that second inning rally with a 2-out double to right center. De Aza then with a ground rule double down the left field line, scored a run, a walk to Flowers, and an RBI single by Eaton. That's the scoring in the game. Again, all with 2 outs in the second. Swing and a miss. Konerko down on strikes. Well, Phelps has retired 7 in a row when we go to the 7th. 2-0 Sox. were the thrilling moments of the game, brought to you by Pepsi. And a lot of the thrills, at least for the White Sox, came because of that man, Chris Sale. 86 pitches. He allowed one base runner, a 2-out single in the sixth by Zoilo Almonte, a triumphant return off the DL for Chris Sale, talking things over with Tyler Flowers. So after 86 pitches, he's done. Cadillac scoreboard 2-0 White Sox. And Zach Putnam will come on, and the Yankees have to be somewhat relieved.
Yeah, I don't think the Yankees care who it is as long as it's not Chris Sale anymore. They'll take their chances with the bullpen.
Jeter, Teixeira, and Soriano. The Yankees' last 17 hits have been singles. Grounded to short, Ramirez. And he gets Jeter. Well, Robin Ventura makes the Verizon call to the bullpen. And that call does bring in the right-hander, Zach Putnam.
Take a look at his numbers on the year. His 13th appearance, 1.40 ERA, 7 strikeouts, or 7 walks, I'm sorry, in 19 1/3. We saw from that first pitch that Derek Jeter, a good sinking fastball in on the righties, away from the lefties.
Well, everybody likes Chicago, but the Yankees have not really done much offensively. In Chicago this week, they've batted in 28 innings. This is the 29th inning, and they have 1 extra base hit. And that was a Gardner double in the 6th inning on Tuesday against the Cubs. All the hits yesterday, singles. Along with Meredith Moragovitz and John Flaherty, I'm Michael Kay. We thank you for joining us on this Thursday evening. Yankees and the White Sox, first game of a 4-game set. It's 2-0 Chicago. Count 2-2. Tries to pull an outside pitch and grounds it to Beckham. 2 outs.
Tonight on Yes, it's a center stage that you do not want to miss as the legendary Mariano Rivera sits down with Michael Kay to reflect on his historic career, including his emotional farewell at the stadium and the story behind his signature cutter. It's a new GMC Presents Center Stage tonight after the postgame, only on Yes.
He was outstanding.
That's a big one.
Yeah, he was good. I think Yankee fans, all fans will really like to see that. Here's Alfonso Soriano 0 for 2 as Putnam deals. Strike.
No, that had to be an easy center stage for you. I mean, you know everything there is to know about this guy, right? Not a whole lot of research to be done.
I read it, you know what, and I read the book, but you're right, I kind of lived it with him.
Yeah.
But he does, he reveals some things that you might not have known and how he feels about certain things. And I think you want to tune in.
Does he talk about his future plans?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
On the edge of my seat.
Swing and a miss. John will edge back onto the back of the seat as the Yankees go down in order 1, 2, 3. Time for the 7th inning stretch in Chicago. 2-0 White Sox. Singleton and Jack Curry. A little bit later on, Cadillac scoreboard 2-0 White Sox. One thing, I don't think it would have been a tough decision for Ventura. You know, you got to think about a guy's career. You got to think about the long term of the season. I think it would have been a decision that people would have questioned him on, but I don't think it would have been tough at all.
No, I don't think he was going to go for the complete game, perfect game,
right?
All that stuff.
I mean, they had Putnam warming up while he still had a perfect game.
Yeah, but if the hit was not given up, would he have sent him out there for one more?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Because I don't think there's any way he would have completed 9 innings. So why push it? And we've already seen what happens. You can't directly connect it, but I think Terry Collins might regret pushing Johan Santana as long as he did. De Aza with a ground ball to second. 1 away, so 1 pitch, 1 out. Let's go back to the studio where Bob Lorenz is waiting. Bob. Wow. They are struggling to score runs. They signed Stephen Drew, which is an admission that they didn't have enough on the left side of the infield. And the defending champ struggling a bit. There's Tyler Flowers, and he takes outside. All things considered, Phelps has pitched well.
No, I mean, Chris Sale is going to get all the attention tonight, and rightfully so. But David Phelps has been very solid. Second inning, got himself into some trouble with 2 outs, a couple of 2-out RBI base hits, but he's giving the Yankees exactly what they need tonight. Trying to get through the 7th inning. You wonder how long Joe Girardi will go with him. High for the season in pitches is 100.
Nobody's up in the bullpen.
You asked Joe Girardi before the game, if you get 7 innings out of Phelps, you'd probably sign up for it.
No one has gotten up throughout the game. And that's a big deal, too, because if you get them up,
might as well use them.
Right. So this way, it's a real rest if they don't get up.
Michael, getting back to that Stephen Drew with Boston, does that mean Bogarts is now not their shortstop? Are they moving him to third like he did last year?
Well, Middlebrooks is on the DL, so for now they'll move him to third, but it's still 2 weeks before Drew will come up. And I've read, John, that they will play him against lefties. Well, they missed Drew, and they really missed Jacoby Ellsbury. But unfortunately for them, Jacoby Ellsbury's not out there to be re-signed. The 2-2. Jacoby is, started the season playing very well for the Yankees. Now has struggled offensively. But he's batted leadoff for the Yankees. Batted third with the injuries they've had. Strike 3, Flowers down looking.
We'll take another look at the fastball down and away. Murphy brings it back up with his backhand, the glove. You're taught as a catcher to kind of pull that ball back up towards the strike zone when it's a borderline low strike down and away. I believe Murphy had a little bit of an influence on that pitch being called a strike.
Pitch is high to Eaton. Grounded sharply to second. Well, Phelps is pitching very well. 10 straight White Sox retirement. The Yankee offense needs to get clicking. Go to the 8th. They're down 2-0. I think 2-6-0 for the White Sox. And just one hit for the Yankees. In fact, just one base runner. Zoilo Almonte's 2-out single in the 6th. Sal went 6 innings, gave up that 1 hit, struck out 10. David Phelps pitched well. 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. And the RBIs go to De Aza and Eaton. A double and a single. Well, the Rally Cat, they want him to do anything to help the Yankees. I'm not sure that will help the Yankees in the box, but we'll see on the Hyundai scoreboard. White Sox lead the Yankees 2-0. Yangervis Solarte will lead off. He's 0 for 2. New pitcher for the White Sox is Daniel Webb. Pitch to Solarte is low. Solarte is grounded to first and had a fly ball to center.
Webb in the game, and Robin Ventura as the veteran. Scott Downs getting loose in the bullpen. Alfredo Aceves up for the Yankees. Downs getting ready for the possibility of some pinch hitters for the Yankees. Ichiro, McCann, Gardner, and Johnson on the bench.
Now the White Sox lost their closer for the remainder of the season, Matt Lindstrom. So the closer right now is Ronald Belisario. That's a big blow for the White Sox. We talked about this yesterday. We have seen the ability and the acceptance of walking for Solarte. He is very good at taking pitches and getting on base. So he's taken 5 right there, and the count now full.
And a borderline pitch could have went either way. Nothing Solarte could have done with that. Tom Woodring, the home plate umpire, gives Webb the call.
Ground ball to second. Beckham. 1 out.
Nice job by Webb coming all the way back. Fell behind 3-0. Able to throw 3 strikes, although the second one was borderline.
Here's Brian Roberts. And a strike. One and one. Roberts grounded to short and grounded to second. Sal started 6 innings. Putnam for the 7th. Now Daniel Webb here in the 8th. Two and one. Now Adam Warren has joined Aceves. The 2-1. Driven out to deep left. De Aza back. Still back. Makes the play on the track for the second out. As promised earlier, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to @YesNetwork using hashtag YesFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Josie Rose knows. They look like they're bundled up against the elements, but happy Yankee fans. And we're going to get a pinch hitter as Brian McCann will pinch hit for John Ryan Murphy.
See if Robin Ventura makes the move to the lefty out of the pen. Downs is ready. Robin Ventura just kind of hanging out with his sunflower seeds.
A couple of ways to look at this, John. Why use McCann now when he can't tie the game? You've got Gardner you could take off the bench. Or you could just have John Ryan Murphy hit, and then you have two possibilities to pinch hit for in the bottom part of the inning. That one is laced into left field. It is a catch by De Aza for the final out. So McCann hit it well, but a 1-2-3 inning for Daniel Webb and the White Sox. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 2-0 White Sox. And Yes has pregame coverage beginning at 7:30. Then just come back after the game on My 9 for Yankees Extra Innings. Plus, catch full coverage of the final two games beginning Saturday and Sunday at 1 only on Yes. Yankees running out of time as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 2-0, and the offense has managed just one base runner, a 2-out single by Zoilo Almonte in the 6th inning. New pitcher, a new battery, as a matter of fact. Alfredo Aceves takes the mound, and he will be throwing to Brian McCann, who would pinch hit for John Ryan Murphy. A strong 7 innings for David Phelps. And Aceves deals a strike. Hyundai scoreboard 2-0 White Sox. Driven out to right center field. On the run is Soriano. Looking up, it's off the wall. He bobbles the carom as Beckham stops at second.
Well, as happy as the Yankees are to get Chris Sale out of the game, Gordon Beckham was just happy to get David Phelps out of this game. 3 strikeouts his first 3 at bats, but he hammers one to right center field against Aceves, up out over the plate. Gave it a bid, hit high off the wall in right center field. Soriano a little bit of trouble with it, but he holds Beckham to a double.
So Beckham at second, and here is Gillespie. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up. McCann runs out of room. And there's a closer, Ronald Belisario. Popped up. Solarte makes the play for the first out. Not a productive at bat there for Gillespie. Wanted to move the runner to third, couldn't get it done.
Well, a huge runner at second base in Beckham. Here the Yankees, obviously with only 1 hit this evening, have not mounted much of an offensive challenge.
So here's Viciedo, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Aceves deals. Breaking ball strike. One and one. Swing and a miss. 1 and 2. Broken back ground ball to third, picked by Solarte, and he gets Viciedo for the second out as Beckham stays at second. Got to stick around because the WB Mason postgame is coming up immediately after the game. You've got Bob Lorenz and Ken Singleton and Jack Curry and Meredith Marakovitz. Catch all the highlights from tonight's matchup and analysis of the key plays, plus you get the clubhouse reaction. It's all coming up On the W.B. Mason Yankees postgame, it's only on Yes.
Bet you they're going to talk about Chris Sale.
You think so?
Yeah.
Here's Adam Dunn. A lot of people will be talking about Chris Sale. Dunn 0 for 3. Count 1-0.
Big Adam Dunn with all his power throughout his career. He's going to have the green light here, 3-0. If he gets a fastball that he likes.
You know, you see this a lot with Aceves on the mound. He has a hard time being on the same wavelength as his catcher. A lot of conferences with Alfredo on the mound.
You know, you watch him pitch, and I think he can be stubborn with his pitch selection, which when he is right and at different times in his career works in his favor. But his stuff isn't as electric as it once was. I'm sure Brian McCann thinking we got to stay away from one big swing of the bat right here on a 3-0 count. See what they finally ended up agreeing on. I'd go off speed here, maybe a changeup.
Did not throw his fastball.
He threw a nice changeup on the outer half. Now, if you want to go fastball, you go fastball in above his hands. Just want to stay away from that fastball out over the plate that he can get extended with.
Drive, a big base hit for Dunn on a broken bat. Beckham will score. That makes it 3-0 on the RBI single by Adam Dunn.
Well, a huge base hit for the Chicago White Sox and Adam Dunn right there. Leadoff double to Beckham. You get a pop-up, you get a ground ball. If you're Aceves and the Yankees, you're thinking you're going to get out of this inning. Another changeup, back-to-back out over the plate. Adam Dunn breaks his bat, but flips it into right field. White Sox lead 3-0.
Well, the old baseball saying, if you're going to throw pitches back-to-back, the second one has to be better than the first, and that wasn't the case. So all 3 White Sox runs tonight have come with 2 outs. Here's Alexi Ramirez. Count 1-0.
Dunn taking his lead. Mark Teixeira holding him on. Stolen 1 base this year, but not a threat to run.
Ramirez started the season this year with a 17-game hitting streak. Got to feel good about that right out of the gate. That's a White Sox record. And his average still over 300, 316. And with 2 outs this year, he hits 358. And he walked him. And that brings up Konerko. Doubled and scored in the second, fly ball right in the fourth, and struck out in the sixth. Count 1-0. And here comes Larry Rothschild to settle down Aceves.
I wonder if Larry Rothschild maybe sees something mechanically Aceves after that base hit to Adam Dunn. Having trouble finding the strike zone to Walker Ramirez.
Tim Woodring, the young umpire, is going to break this up. But before he gets out there, they break it up. With just one hit, you don't want it to get any worse than 3-0 as you go to the ninth. So Konerko, a big batter. Dunn's at second, Ramirez is at first. Count 2-0. Popped up. Teixeira cannot make the play. Goes into the camera well. A little tentative as he approached the camera well. Not his home ballpark, so measuring his steps.
You see Mark a little frustrated when he does not make this play. Had a little bit more room than he thought he had. We would have liked to have gotten to the railing a little bit earlier.
Swing and a miss. The house special was Chris Sale's start. 6 innings of 1-run ball. Katie Sharp, who's a great follower on Twitter, if you're watching the Yankee games, said that Chris Sale is the first pitcher in at least the last 100 years with 10 or more strikeouts, no walks, no runs, and just one hit allowed versus the Yanks.
100 years.
Yep. Crowd chanting Paulie for Konerko. Now he calls time. Again, time. Driven to right field. Soriano has plenty of room, and he makes the play for the final out. One big run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. Can the Yankees mount a rally as we go to the 9th? Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by your Tri Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on the 2014 models. By 22 Jump Street in theaters June 13th. And by the 2014 Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. The second city, the great skyline of Chicago. As we go to the 9th inning, and Robin Ventura brings on his new closer, Ronald Belisario, with Matt Lindstrom out with an injury. It's turned over to this man. Gets a lot of ground balls. You know him with the Dodgers. 21 games, 2-3, 4.15. And the Yankees send up Brett Gardner to pinch hit for Brendan Ryan. Also, Moises Sierra takes over in right for Diane Viciedo to tighten up the defense.
What you like about Belisario, if you're Robin Ventura, he does not walk a lot coming out of that bullpen.
Ichiro is on deck to pinch hit for Almonte. So Joe had lefties on that bench because of Sale starting, and he's using them. Pinch hit McCann in the 8th. Last time anyone threw a one-hitter at the Yankees. You have to go back to September 4th, 2001. 2009, I'm sorry, I couldn't read the writing. Roy Halladay, a complete game at Toronto. Swing and a miss, the ball gets away. And a tough play as Flowers threaded the needle to get it to Dunn.
A tough throw for Flowers and a tough play for Adam Dunn to kind of hang in there. Looked like the ball just missed Brett Gardner. A lot of movement on this pitch from Belisario. It gets away from Flowers. Doesn't have time to create an angle. Just flips it down there, and Adam Dunn hangs in there. Nice play.
Ichiro fouls it off. Last time the Yankees got one hit by the White Sox, you have to go back to 1984. Lamar Hoyt did it, and the only hit was off the bat of Don Mattingly. That's from our own Jeff Quagliata. And they will not be one hit tonight as Ichiro with a single up the middle. A pinch hit single. And there's a Hoyt fan.
Well, Ichiro just continues to do his thing. Batting average now up over 360. Every time he gets an opportunity, laying out a couple of base hits. 4-5 hopper right back up the middle.
So here's Ellsbury. 3 strikeouts tonight. All 3 were against Sale, who's very tough on lefties. That one is laced into left center field. On the run is Diaz. He makes the play. Ichiro heads back to first, and he just gets back to avoid the game-ending double play.
A nice play by Diaz, covering a lot of ground as his ball slicing back to him. Ichiro Suzuki, not a great read, probably was off first base a little bit more than he needed to be. He was able to scamper back.
Here's Derek Jeter, gets a standing ovation as he comes to the plate. Ichiro goes, he's not being held, and he takes second on defensive indifference.
The Yankees, you got to be thinking, we give us a chance with Mark Teixeira trying to get up to the plate. If Derek Jeter can work his way on, looking for one swing of the bat to get right back in this thing.
2-1. strike. Jeter thought it was ball 4. He is not really agreeing with Tim Woodring tonight.
Belisario's fastball moves all over the plate. Good sinking action. You can make an argument that it might be low. Right below the knee from the good side angle.
And that's a walk. So the Yankees get their chance. They bring the tying run up to the plate in the person of Mark Teixeira. There's a strike to Teixeira. He doesn't like the call, thought it was too low.
Well, you think back to Mark Teixeira against K-Rod. 2 outs, a game-tying home run in that game of Milwaukee.
Yankees down to their final strike.
Well, that was the pitch right there, too. Thinking about Belisario and all that movement on his fastball. The one stayed up a little bit, middle of the plate. Good swing, fouled it off.
Eacher off second, Jeter off first. The 0-2, way outside. The 31-year-old right-hander stares into Flowers. And the 1-2. Grounded foul. That one gets past Flowers, and the runners move up on the wild pitch.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. I wonder if there was a cross-up. Flowers and Belisario talking it over.
And they're going to call it a pass ball, Joe. That's not an easy one to grab. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on. Yankees down 3-0 in the 9th. Teixeira at the plate. He's a tying run. Here's the 2-2. Line drive up the middle. It is a base hit. That'll score 2. Ichiro touches the plate. Here comes Jeter. It's a 2-run single for Teixeira, and the Yankees are still alive. 3-2 White Sox.
Things getting interesting now. Mark Teixeira is going to be pinch run 4. Kelly Johnson takes over. Looks like a slider, middle of the plate. Mark just stays right back up the middle. The pass ball now proves costly. As Ichiro scores easily, Derek Jeter comes around. Things are heating up here in the South Side.
Little Yankee fan is pumped. Here's Soriano. Missed outside. Now they will hold Johnson at first. You don't want to give him second. That's the tying run there. Soriano is 0 for 3 tonight. Popped to second, 2 strikeouts. Two 2-0. swing and a miss. Trying to give the Yankees a lead right there, 2-1.
Well, we've seen Soriano all night. He's been in swing mode. 2-0, gets a sinking fastball down and into, swings right over the top.
Way outside, 3-1. On deck is Solarte.
If you're Soriano, you should be getting the same pitch you got on the 2-0 count, a sinker down and in. You expect the same thing here, 3-1.
3-1 pitch. Again, the Yankees down to their final strike. It's 3-2. And that's going to release Kelly Johnson at first, so he has an advantage to score on a double. Outfield is deep for the White Sox. Gillespie deep at third, close to the line to cut off the extra base hit. And Ramirez plays in the hole. Beckham shades up the middle. Runner goes. Strike three, ball game over. Soriano's taking off his shin guard, thinking that he was walking, and he just says that was high. And the White Sox win the game 3-2. Let's take a look at this, John.
We talked about Belisario and all the movement that he has on all of his pitches. 3-2 delivery, it starts up. Tries to come back down. Flowers does not do a good job receiving it. Looked a little high. Soriano cannot believe it. Thought it was up in the zone.